I'm just trying to figure out how to move this black toolbar at the top so I can get to my tabs. Like this. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. Perfect. All right, so can you see my screen? It's a Trello board?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So basically what I was going to do tonight was just go over the real basics of Drupal 8, more from a site building perspective. It's not a theming or a development, specific, overview. It's just really the basics and what is in a Drupal 8 site when you install it with just core. So what I did before the meeting was I started installing Drupal 8. All I did was download using Acquia Dev Desktop so that we could have in the cloud, so we could have a site that we can all log into. So I'm just going to install it first, and then I'll walk you through some of the new items that are in Drupal 8. So this is very familiar. I don't know how many, I know Dennis is on, and Cindy and Kathy. Has any of you actually gone and installed Drupal 8 and played around with it, or is this all brand new?
I've installed it once.
Okay. How about you, Dennis?
I've installed it a few times and I played around with it quite a bit.
Okay, great. So you probably know more than I do.
So I am installing this right now. I cloned the repo to local about a half hour ago.
Okay.
So where do I go to start the installation?
All right, well, I'm doing mine from Acquia Dev Desktop.
Okay.
So are you using MAMP, or what are you using to Azure local?
MAMP is running, but I'm doing it through the command line.
Okay.
Okay, so it's core install.php, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
cool.
Sorry,
All
go
right,
ahead.
so I'm just going to give this a site name, and I'm just going to say Monday night. Was it Drupalistas? All right.
Yep.
I was going to put my work email, and I'll put my, this doesn't really matter. All right, so this is very similar. There's nothing really unusual about this, except when we get to the language in a second. All right, so this is a little bit different. You could set I think you could set this already before your country. And we'll talk about multilingual in a few seconds, but you can now install your default time zone right from here. So I'll do America, New York, if I can find it. All right, I'm going to disable that. So there really isn't a lot of difference in the install profile.
I was going to say that that's all the same as D7, isn't it?
Yeah, with the exception of, I believe, the time zone. I think that was something you had to go into configuration for, maybe not. Maybe I just skip by it all the time.
No, you do it from D7.
Okay.
Yeah, you do it on the same place.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is now a Drupal 8 core install with nothing extra. So if I go back to my Trello board, I have this broken down into kind of different sections. The core authoring, content authoring, I'm sorry. Mobile first, I'll probably just start with that, seeing that we don't have any content yet in this site. So all of the themes in Drupal 8 are responsive out of the box. So it's a mobile first initiative. You'll see that if I make this smaller at all, I don't know if I can do this in this zoom here, we'll try. You'll see that the navigation went to the left. So based on your screen size, the navigation automatically, the main menu there, nav bar, moves accordingly, which is pretty cool. If I make it small enough, it'll just be the little hamburger.
Is that because it's using Ember for a back-end theme?
It's using 7 as a default core admin theme. Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's using 7, as is Drupal 7. Ember.js is part of the, they have Backbone and Ember as part of, I believe, Ember. as part of the default JavaScript libraries, but the theme is 7 that it's using for the admin menu. I mean, the
Okay.
admin theme. And we can,
Yeah,
we
the
can
Bardic theme's now responsive. I thought somebody had told me that they had ported it back to 7 so that there's a Bardic responsive on Drupal 7.
I believe that's true. A lot of the things that I'm going to show you have actually been backported to 7. So even for Cindy, and if you decide you don't want to go to Drupal 8 yet, a lot of these things that I'm going to show you are actually you're able to use those in Drupal 7.
Yeah, I was asking because our site does that now. When you're in the admin section,
Mm-hmm.
we have that same menu bar at the top.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
And
so
then it
yeah,
drops down to the left. Yeah,
Mhm.
when you reduce the screen size. Yeah.
right. So I'm guessing that you're using something that's been backported from 8 to 7.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so that's really all in terms of responsiveness. Like I said, the themes there's one called Classy, which has a lot of base classes. I actually found an article which I thought would be helpful. It's a Lullabot blog post here, and it talks about these two themes, stable versus classy. Those are the two base themes that are in Drupal 8 by default. So the difference is that, actually it says it right here. If you want to start with markup that has sensible classes, then you use classy. If you want to use very few classes, and you want to basically build it yourself, you use stable. So stable is the minimalist theme that's in Drupal 8. Classy has a few, more classes and such, and Classy is actually the base of both Bartik and what's the other theme in Drupal 8? Let's go and check. I forgot the second one. But anyway, there's two themes that come with Drupal 8 in addition to the Classy and Stable, and Classy is the basis of the other two. And then, of course, you still have 7. So let's look real quick so I get the other name of that for you. So Bartik, 7 Stark. Stark is just there as a way to go back to Drupal 7, just to compare it. Doesn't look like there is another one in here. I thought there was another one. I could be wrong. I thought there was 4 that came. Let's see what they say here. I believe there's 2 others. So the Stark and Classy, let me just show you while we're on here. I'll give you this link, by the way. Again, this is a Lullabot. Here's Classy, and you'll see they have things like class field items and things like that, where Stable, which is just minimal, doesn't even have those classes in it. So I'm not a front-end person, but Cindy, this might make a lot of sense to you. And I don't know, Kathy and Dennis, how much you use, how much you do of theming, but this basically has a very good write-up about Classy and Stable and what the differences are. All right, so let's go back to the app here. And let's actually go add some content so I can show you some of the content. The new content thing. So first of all, if you go to structure, you'll see that there's a new comment type. So you can have different types of comments. By default, you have default comments. Comments are all themable now. Fieldable. I'm sorry. You can add fields to the comments, but you can have different types of comments. You can have different comments available to different permission levels. So every time I go to structure now in Drupal 8, I automatically think this is content types, as do a lot of other people. But content types are actually down here. Comment types is new in Drupal 8.
The other big change with comments is they're now entities where they're not in 7.
Correct. That's correct. They're fieldable entities. You're correct. Yep. So basically everything is fieldable in Drupal 8.
It also has other implications where supposedly anything that is any module that's entity compatible now has access to the comments. Under D7, that wasn't true.
Yep, and that's correct. Yep. So for content types, the only real difference that I noticed besides, well, there's quite a few, but one of them is you have this new manage form display. So you can dictate for a form that a content author is adding. You can decide, you can permission base these different fields. You can decide, and title actually is now a field here where it wasn't before. But you can actually decide how you want the form to display when people are actually in there using the forms in the site, as opposed to the manage display.
How do you set their permissions on the fields?
That's a good question, but I know you can do it. Pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah, I honestly don't know.
We
Top
have
of my head.
managed display, managed form in use on our site.
You do, so that's got to be something.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So you can add fields, and then you can arrange that display form, to put things like over there with the author and the date, the publishing, or URL alias. You can group those kind of more things in that area over there. It's nice.
Now, is that out of the display suite, or is that
I'm
different?
not exactly sure.
Because I know the display suite has some of that capabilities in 7.
It could very well be. But yeah, we mess with that a lot when we create like a new content type.
Interesting. So it sounds like your site, Cindy, has quite a few of the components of Drupal 8 backported in there.
Yeah, we've got some enhancements. I'm not sure where they all came from.
Okay, cool. Because I know manage form display, I don't believe it was in Drupal 7 by default. So that's good. So that's something that's different. So let's go to content, and let's just add some content here real quick. I should have actually had a site all prepared in Drupal 8 here, but I don't. Busy day today and never enough time, right? So what should we do here? I'm going to do something really. So something else that's new. Obviously, the WYSIWYG is CK editor is included by default in Drupal 8. Images, you can embed images directly in your content. I don't know if I have any images here. Let's just see what I have for pictures. Alternative text, alt text for accessibility, from an accessibility standpoint, that is now required, where it wasn't required before in Drupal 7.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And caption option.
Yep.
That looks like a skull sort of implementation.
Yeah, it could be. I'm not.
Not that Scald requires it though, so that's very cool that it's required.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it embeds the image right in your.
Why is it cool that it's required?
Because alt text is great for people with screen readers and search engine optimization, and most editors, because they don't know what alternative text or alt text means, they don't use it.
Ah. Okay.
Yep.
So it's
One other thing, the PHP option or the PHP module is no longer in core in Drupal 8. Yeah, I mean they're trying to definitely discourage the use of it. I believe it's still going to be a contrib module, but it's not going to be enabled available in core by default, which is great.
Yeah.
The layout of this page here, as you'll notice, everything that the content author would be entering is on the left now. On the right, they moved, instead of having to go down and tab down to get all these administrative type settings, these are all right here on the right now, which is much easier.
Yeah, but it limits the size of your screen or
your WYSIWYG input.
No, it just,
But you can also see with that manage form, you can put more things over in that right-hand column also.
Right.
So you can move some of the things out of the, keep the editing area clean.
This area here. What another thing
how
you
do you,
can go ahead.
how do you hide that stuff from the user if you don't want them filling it in?
Oh, I think it's just in the managed form. So,
Okay.
because every single page now is a view, so even the front page is a view. So you can manage what's displayed. So I don't know if this is a view per se, or if this is just, as Cindy said, a form that you can manage and move that information. Let me just do two more things, and then we'll go check that
Okay.
out. So some other things, some of the options here are different in Drupal 8. You can save and publish it all in one keystroke, or you can save as unpublished. There's also this cool preview button, so that you can preview right in line here what your content would look like.
We had
Which is-
that with 7.
I don't believe so. Those
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
did we?
Yeah, that was
There's
on
an
7.
option,
Yeah.
But I never liked the preview because it never looked real.
No,
Right.
it never looked.
What was it in a
right.
preview and an admin, from an admin standpoint, in the admin theme as opposed to in the actual user theme in 7? Because
I
that's
could
what
have
you,
sworn.
I believe
Okay,
so.
I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this is new. Maybe it's just the implementation of it that's new, because it is in the theme of the user as opposed to the theme of the and you can come up here and you can say, I want to see it in the teaser mode, or I want to see it in the default mode, which is
Oh, that's nice too.
the full mode. So that's nice. Yeah. So those are some of the changes on this particular content form, content entry form. And Dennis, you wanted to know about, let me just go back and see what your question was. You wanted to know about whether that was a content form or not.
How you manage that?
Right. I think it's a view. Let's go to structure views. Obviously, views isn't core. We all know that. And every page is now a view. So here you go, content. Admin content.
Really?
Yep. Okay, so this is the content page itself. And another thing that's cool about Drupal 8 is you can actually, in the views here, when you have a table, you can decide which columns in the table are most important. So then as the screen size shrinks, it'll drop the columns
Oh, very cool.
that aren't
Nice.
needed. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you kind of sort of did that with some of the other modules in 7.
Mhm.
There's one called Table Trash where you can kind of sort of do that.
Yep. So you see front page is actually a view now. So you can move things around, or you can change the defaults, whatever you want here for the front page, which is good. So, some of the other views, let me go back here. Like I said, pretty much everything is a view. The people, the taxonomy terms, a lot of these are the same as they were, but there are a few additional ones here as well. But I think the best thing about views is for the ones that are tables, you can dictate, like I said, which columns you actually want to display for the different screen sizes. All right, so let me go back to content for a minute. I think I saved that piece of content. I did. All right, so some of the other things that are, I want to view it. I don't want to actually, I want to view the content. There's inline editing now, inline editing. So you can, there's this quick edit, and this is also, you can backport this to Drupal 7. So quick edit, if I want to change the title here, just hover over that and I can change that in line without having to go to the edit mode.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And you just save it right on the fly here. So this really helps content authors in seeing it in the view that they will be seeing it on the site, as opposed to going to the edit view and looking at something completely different.
So edit in place is default?
I'm sorry?
Edit in place is default?
Yes. Everything, I haven't done any settings. I haven't changed anything. This is all straight core out of the box that you're seeing right now. All I did was download Drupal 8. And actually, I downloaded Drupal 8, flat Drupal 8, just 8.0.0. There's now 8.0.1, I believe, but that's not up yet on Acquia Dev Desktop. So I'm one version actually behind here. But you can quick edit anything on this page by just hovering over it and then changing it. So I can change the body, or I can change whatever I want here. I can just go image properties, and I can change that to right. I can change the alt text right on the fly and save it right there without ever leaving this page. So that's a huge improvement. I think having WYSIWYG in core is a huge improvement as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So you don't have to go through all those, all that.
We all fight that, yeah.
Exactly.
I've missed it. This, if you said it, if they're using, what is the editor?
CK Editor.
Okay.
CK Editor is the WYSIWYG editor in core.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can drag and drop images. I went over that. In-place editor, the easy-to-use content creation page, and previews available from the from the edit page. So those are all the content authoring improvements. Now there's like 200 and some odd improvements, 200 plus improvements in Drupal 8. I'm only going over the real high-level ones. In terms of mobile first, I said there was the toolbar, and Cindy said she's already using that. I already talked about the responsive core themes. The images are all responsive by default, so if I go back to my site here, where I had that PHP image here, and if we shrink the screen, you'll notice that image is getting smaller as well. I should have put a bigger image in here so we actually could see that. Let's actually do that.
The nav bar is available for Drupal 7. I couldn't
Yep.
do it. I really don't like it.
You don't like the nav bar?
No, because I like the drop down of the toolbar now. But I guess it's supposed to be really helpful for mobile.
Right.
Our content editors who have like very little, you know, if all they're doing is editing nodes, it makes it nice for them. Then it doesn't clutter things up with the admin menu. Yeah.
So there's
ahead.
no admin menu on D8 at this time?
Yeah, there's an admin menu. We'll check that. Hold on one sec. We'll check that. I'm just looking for a bigger picture here.
Okay. Yeah, the admin menu as we know it in D7.
I honestly don't know. Let's just go with.
Yeah, I was just curious. Not a big deal.
We can check that though, and we'll check it 1 second. All right, so there we go. There's a bigger image. And we'll save that and keep it. So now there's a save and keep publish option, which is new. So if we make this smaller, sorry, I'm having a little hard time with this Zoom thing. Figure out where my screens are. There we go. So you'll see it's a responsive image. It's getting smaller as we go, which is cool. All right, so
Nice. Yeah.
yeah. So let's get this back full screen.
Does it come with any image styles out of the box?
It does, and I think there are a few additional ones. Let's see, configuration. Configuration is pretty similar. Let me make the screen a little bigger again. Now, I guess it's just those three. I thought there was additional ones, but I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, they look pretty much the same as what we have on Drupal 7 in terms of image styles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me go back here and just make sure I did everything that was in mobile first that I want to tell you about. Oh, the admin menus, the admin experience is all mobile as well. So you could actually go and create the site and do all your site building and all that on a smaller device if you so choose. Now let's see if we can figure that out. Let's go to structure, content types. And let's just make this smaller.
If you look at the site in, are you on Chrome?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Go to the front end go to the site and then right click and inspect.
Oh, right. What would you like me to inspect? Just anything?
Yeah, but look at over in the top left corner. You see the little thing that looks like a mobile phone of the inspect box next to the tab elements. Right, yeah.
There? Yeah.
Click it. And so now you have a preview of mobile.
Oh, okay.
So you can, under select mode at the top, you can choose like iPhone 6 and then refresh it.
Refresh the whole page.
Yeah. Just hit the
Doesn't
little
seem to.
right click.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's not doing anything.
Over, you can do it up on the top bar. Just wait, over down by the address bar.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure. Sorry. Yeah.
Way over the left. There you go.
Yeah, that wasn't doing too much, but I guess that's how we see it. You know, I wanted to make it bigger, but I guess, can I make it bigger over here?
What you
Not
can do
really.
is, there's a zoom to fit on the second bar. Yeah, I think you might be able to get bigger. Yeah.
Okay, let's close that. Whoops. Sorry about that. I think I just got out of Chrome on you. I mean, I got out of the dev tools. Did you see what you wanted to see? You want me to get back in there?
Oh, well, I was giving you an opportunity to test the admin on a mobile device.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it seems to, like this menu here looks like it's in the way today for some reason. You know what I mean? It's supposed to go into the hamburger menu when you get to a mobile device. So it's not.
I think
I'll have to look at that. I'm not quite sure why that's doing that.
click the manage button at the top.
Okay, now let's try. Okay, so now let me get to. Yeah, so it moved all this over, down below as opposed to over on the right from an admin perspective.
So the manage form was to manage the edit form? When you were creating the node type, you showed manage form, and that was
Yeah.
Well, you can move things around. You can move all the fields around. You can put the body before the title, or insert like if you have a marquee on on a node or a content type, or you have a feature image that you use in view lists or something like that, you can put it either included in the right in the manage form, or you can move it anywhere. I mean, you could move the body tag to the bottom if you want.
Right, but the form they're talking about, is that the input form, the edit, note edit?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little confusing. Yeah.
Right. So it's the input form as opposed to the display.
Yes.
And the displays
Yes.
are the view modes, the teaser, the default, all those, versus the form itself.
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty
But
awesome. I always had to use panels to do that before.
right, right. So here you can actually move the title. It actually includes the authored by, the authors on, these type of things as part of that form. So you can move those around. One thing that I want to make sure we want to cover is blocks. So blocks in Drupal 8 are fieldable as well, but you can put the same block in multiple places in Drupal 8. So you'll
Nice.
So you'll notice here, it's kind of different. The interface is definitely different here where it has the place block. So if I want to place something in the header, for instance, I click place block, and then it shows me the different blocks, title being one of those. So you can just go and decide what you want to place where. So if I want to put powered by Drupal for some reason in my header as well, I can do that and then just save the block.
Oh, and then it's the same interface there, restricted pages and.
Yep, so you'll see powered by Drupal is now in both the header and I think by default it might be in the footer.
Yeah, you're allowed to use the same blocks multiple times. Not
Right.
quite the same thing as context
Sounds
module.
like they
Or
incorporated
multi-block.
beans.
Yeah,
Multi-block makes you create an instance of a block.
right.
Right.
Yeah,
And
which actually.
Beans lets you create fieldable blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Right, this lets you, exactly, so you can configure this and you can actually add fields to that. So that, oops, sorry. So that's a big improvement in Drupal 8 is the ability to place those in multiple and be able to add fields to them as well. But I thought the interface was a little funky in the way that they do it. That you actually have to place the block and then go place the block again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah, it's different, but
I
so
wonder if place the block is for a secondary version of the block, because go back to that other screen. You still have that, the drop-down selection. And
yes, you do.
So you can place it that way, or you can drag it, and maybe place block, place another instance.
Well, you can configure it. That gets you to your configuration screen too.
You could use configuration, the drop down, and the drag thing to put it in one place. And I think the place block is probably to another instance of it. So
Yeah, that could be. But the fact that you can place them, like I said, is pretty cool. Let me see, where else? Where are we? So I think the site building experience, we talked about most of these things. The field types, these field types here, and I'm not going to go through them all, but entity reference is one of them. Entity reference is in Drupal 8 core by default, so you no longer have to bring that in. But there are now field types for dates, emails, telephone. Each one of these used to be a separate module that you used to bring in. These are all new field types within Drupal 8. So if I just go to content types and we add, let's just manage fields here. And I just add a field. I'm just going to show you so the field types here, it's a little bit different, these field types. But if I put a date field in here now, and this actually is going to give me the calendar pop up, which is good. So you don't have, I think there was 2 different things you had to do to get those before, but now it's just the date field is a field type. You'll see tags are an entity reference field type. So like I said, that's in here by default. And comments are now a field, as Dennis said, and they are of the comment field type. But then you have all these other field types, such as email, which actually checks the email. So this date email, there's a link type, which you used to have to bring in as well. There's references. So entity references could be to content, to files, taxonomy terms. They actually can bring in a reference to a user. So those are all right out of the box. So if I wanted to say manager or something like this. So it's actually going to the user table and pulling that in. You can have default values. So that's pretty much the same, but.
So then on this content type, if you go to enter some, let's create a node of this content type.
Yep.
How does that look?
I'm looking to see if this is safe here. I'm not seeing a save, although I just want to make sure that it's not lower. Nope. Okay. I'll make that bigger, but back to put it bigger again. I think it was the article I was doing, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
You'll see the date of event here, the manager. So if I type in, I don't have any people in here. Oh, just the one that I had.
Oh, nice. Autocomplete.
Yeah, so that goes right to the user table and pulls from the people that I had added. The date of event, I believe.
Could you do that again, please?
Sure. So all I did was manager, I linked as an entity reference to users. So anybody that have it in people, which I only have one, which is user one that I created. Whoops, if I spelled it right, it would work. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, one real important thing about using this, if you type, okay, back up, let me show you what happens. Type in the name.
All of it?
All the way out, yeah. And you've only got one item in the list and you hit enter. Go ahead, hit enter.
I did.
Okay, it kind of sort of looks like it took it.
Right,
But if
right.
you were to save that page, it's not there, even if it's a required field. So you have to pick the item from the drop-down list because it pops the node ID in there, and that it actually saves the node ID.
Yeah.
So that is a big issue with entity reference because most people don't realize it.
Yeah, they think they all work like tags. They can just keep adding them and adding them and adding them, and
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Right,
So it looks, especially in 7.
So some help
at least,
text would be
pardon?
great there. Some help text would be great there.
Yeah, assuming your people are going to read it.
Right.
I've used it, they don't read it.
But that's the same in 7. That's not any different.
No, I know that. I had to go in and write custom code to do that.
Oh, wow. Cool.
To allow for that.
Wow.
It sucked.
Yep. So here's the date widget. It actually gives you the calendar there, which is cool for the date. So there's other ones, email, and the other ones that I put. And I'll give you access to this board. Go ahead.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Instead of a pop-up date. Okay.
Yep. Multilingual real quick. So we don't have that much more time left. I think somebody said there was like 50 modules that you needed contrib full multilingual. Now multilingual is in core. There are many, many translations that have been done for a ton of languages. So if I had chosen something other than US from the original install page, it would have translated the information, not only the admin information, the admin interface, all the terms on there, as long as they were translated by somebody into a different language and you select that language, those will be translated for you. That was all provided by different community groups. And I believe you can have a separate interface for the admin. So you can say, I want the form in English, but I want my users to be able to enter the information in Spanish or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't used that a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, I haven't used that a lot. I know Kristen Paul and Hook 42 did a lot of work on that multilingual stuff, as did, a lot of other people. But I know she does a lot of presentations, so look for her name, Kristen Pol. She's done presentations at different camps and things on the multilingual initiative.
And Gabor, I don't know how to say his last name.
Yes, he has done a lot as well. Yep. I'm not a designer, but these are the things I've already talked about, the base themes. Twig templates, I actually have an example in PHP Storm here to show you page HTML. So this is page.html.twig. So you see anything in these curly braces, that would display the page header, the primary menu, so that the double curly braces, and then the actual piece of information that's being displayed. So that's Twig.
So the curly brace percent down there is for PHP?
No,
sidebar?
no. Is that just HTML? Or is that PHP? I guess it's PHP.
Yeah, HTML doesn't have if.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't see the if there. Yeah, so that's PHP, but you try to, most of the PHP is removed from the templates and it's put in the pre-process function.
Yeah.
The Twig templates is supposed to just be HTML and the Twig.
Yeah, but the template has to know if there's a sidebar,
Correct. Yep.
what to do with it. Sure. There ends up being some logic in template files.
Exactly.
It's Twig logic rather than PHP.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, exactly. Because I don't think there's any PHP in a Twig template. Thank you, Kathy. Yep.
Okay. Twig logic.
Twig. I believe that's
Twig
simple.
logic is for the birds.
For the bird brains like me.
For the bird brains. There's HTML5 tags used throughout Drupal 8 is HTML5. So aside and sections and all that kind of stuff is in Drupal 8 by default. So that's the PHP. I won't get into a lot of Twig because I'm certainly not a Twig expert, but I did want to show you that. There are YAML files also, so I'm just going to show you Bartik real quick. This is the Bartik info file, but it's now bartik.info.yaml. As you can see, as I said, the base theme of Bartik is that classy theme, which I showed you that Lullabot article on that. This looks very similar, though. The only difference really is in some of the items that are listed there at the top. But it looks very similar. It's got the regions, etc. So that's the YAML file for Bartik. The classic YAML file is even smaller. That's it for the classy info file. But those are all YAML files now. Before I forget, I know there's an awful lot to show, but before I forget, I wanted to go into, where did I put this? Let me just go here to my name real quick, and I'm going to go to, I have this in Dev Desktop, so I'm just going to go to the site we just created, which was, who remembers what I called it? Well, we'll just go with this WSV one because it's the same thing. So you'll notice if I collapse this one, this is a Drupal 8 site as well. If I go here, you'll notice it core now has all the core information in it. You actually, instead of going to Sites All Modules and Sites All Themes, you actually put your modules in the modules folder and you put your themes in the theme folder. And all the core stuff is actually under core. So now you have core. Just trying to collapse some of this so it makes a little more sense to you. You now have core modules. So if we look at the core modules, these are the modules that come in Drupal 8 core. And you'll see date time is one of them. A lot of these things we talked about are actually part of entity reference, are part of Drupal 8 core.
So they kind of switched it, where
They switched it. Yep.
core modules were root and your site modules were embedded in a directory. They flipped it.
Correct.
Can you go back
can
to
you
directory
scroll up just a little bit? Let's see, core.
So core, everything is in the core folder that's part of core. So the includes, the libraries, the modules, the themes are all. So if I go to themes here, and I know this, I don't know why they're not showing up, but if you notice on the themes here, there's Bartik, Classy, 7, Stable, Stark. So there are that many themes. I didn't see them all when I was looking at the site, but these are the themes that are in Drupal 8 core.
What's in that sites folder down there? Is that for a multi-site installation?
You can put the stuff still in sites. You don't. It's not recommended that you do, but you can.
Okay.
So you see now the site's default. You have default settings PHP and default services YAML.
And so files, is that where your files actually go?
Yep.
So maybe the sites folder is for default and files, whereas modules and themes is out of sites. But
Yep.
So like if you upload an image to the site, where does that go? Site's default files?
I believe it still goes to site default files. I don't see a files directory in, let me close core. There's no files directory out here, if that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it's still in sites.
Okay.
I think the real big difference is the themes and the modules are now at the root directory, and then core contains, like Kathy said, it's the opposite. Core has the folders for.
Mm-hmm.
How
So
about
that's-
library?
And core has libraries in there?
Yep,
Is
core
there
has some
live?
libraries. Yep.
Great mind, Cindy.
Live.
Yep.
Could you go back to the directory structure at the top level when you're?
Ooh, did you see that
What'd I
library?
do?
Kathy?
What'd I do? So
Okay,
that's my site. And these are the main folders. Let me close this one. Those are the main folders.
So to update the to new release, you delete everything except modules, and then reload core.
Modules, themes, profiles, sites.
Yeah, I think the difference is that you won't be.
It looks like you only would update the single file.
Core directory, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Crush is probably.
but
So
you're going to be.
faster.
Right. I think you're going to be migrating, though, from one version to another as opposed to doing it from scratch. I'm not 100% clear on that yet, though. I think so. I think it's going to be a migration path versus a clean install each time. That's my understanding, but I could be completely wrong.
That's something we should look into, finding out.
Migration was for data, not for code. That's a big change.
Yeah, don't quote me on that, though. Maybe we could talk about that again next week, and I'll look into it a bit further for you again. That wasn't something that I had looked at for today. Let's see what else I didn't tell you about. I told you most of these things. As Cindy said, Backbone and Modernizer are in there. Schema.org, they're also using that. And you can look at schema.org to see exactly what they mean there. Configuration management, I did want to show you that real quick. So this allows you to export into YAML files and to re-import that. So say you do something in development, and we could do that real quick.
Like change permissions and feature those, or put them in configuration or whatever.
Yeah, you don't have to feature them anymore, though.
Yeah.
You can put them in the YAML file. How do I minimize this? Get this black thing out of my way. Can you see all that? You probably can't see that black thing that's blocking all my tabs. The toolbar from...
We don't see the black. We don't see the bar.
Yeah, you don't see the bar. Okay. It's right on top of all my tabs.
I see your tabs.
You do? Oh, good. Can you press
Yeah.
it for me? Can you get to the one I want? Oh, there we go.
Can
All
you
right, so-
move that black bar aside?
No, I couldn't. But anyway, it minimized it. For some reason, I was able to minimize. So let's go here to account settings, and let's just do something really simple. Let's just go and say, oh, not account settings. I want to do the other one. Sorry. Site information. Let's just go change the site name. Actually, let's fix this Monday.
Monday.
We'll just put a 2 there just so we definitely see that we saved this kind of. All right, so what we're going to do is then just under configuration. So I just saved that. Configuration. Configuration synchronization. Export. This is going to create a YAML file, and it's going to create a ton of YAML files actually. You can actually do a full archive, which I just did, or you can just, if you know you just did a single item, you can just export a single item and bring it back in. So I just created this entire structure here. So I'm just going to open it and show you all the YAML files it creates. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Wow.
Yep, and it's still
It's
going.
very cool to have config like that, though.
Right. So then what you do is, if I was going to go and I don't have, let's say I had a staging site set up, I could go to the stage site and actually import this into. So instead of exporting, you just import. And you choose the file to import, and then you import that. And there's a way from the command line, from the Drush command line, to actually go and do a diff to show you what has changed, both before
Nice.
you do it and afterwards.
Our little Drupal has grown up so much.
Yeah, hasn't it? It sure has. Oh God, development. There's a million things in development. The important things, caching, is one of the important things. It's now cached it uses something called cache tags. So it's cached actually at the individual item level. So if you go to the people page, for instance, and you change one person on that, it doesn't reload the entire page. It only reloads that one person. So it's much more selective caching, I guess you'd call it. And it's caching at the page level by default. So that's pretty cool. Some other real quick things, this Drupal module upgrader module, that supposedly has two, I haven't used it, but it supposedly has two different options. One, to analyze the module and tell you what you would need to do to bring it from 7 to 8. And the other one actually updates it from 7 to 8. And I'm told it's between 60 and 80% complete after you run that upgrader module. And then you have to go manually do the rest of it. So that's good. There's also a D8 upgrade checklist module, which I guess you install on a site, and it tells you which modules have been, again, I haven't tried this, but it tells you which modules have been upgraded and which haven't. This contrib tracker, I'm going to go here. This is something that Angie Byron, I believe, did. This basically tells you for all the different modules, how many have no active port, how many have work started, and if again, I have the zoom bar here, but if you can see over all the way on the right over here, can you see the fourth column where it says has been ported?
I see it has alpha.
Yeah, it has alpha beta. Yeah, so there's 75 modules, which is pretty good. I was on a quick webinar with Dries. Did anybody watch that today? It was a webinar with Dries and WebCheck and a few others about Drupal 8. They're putting, I believe he said, either $500,000 or $1 million. I don't know if it's the Drupal Association or Acquia is going to fund the module maintainers to get their modules up to Drupal 8 from 7.
Wow.
So they're really doing a push. So instead of like it was with Drupal 7, it took months and months to get everything up to all the contrib modules up to Drupal 7. they're really doing a push to get as many of the critical ones. And you'll notice this critical on some of these. They're really trying to get those critical ones converted up to Drupal 8 as quick as possible. So I think they said by the beginning of the year, they're hoping to have a lot of them done. So that's pretty good
Like
news.
3 weeks.
Well, maybe it was the end of January. I forget exactly what he said, but I know they're doing a big push to get as many as they can up there. I know Path Auto is one of the ones that is pretty critical, as is C-Tools. So I know we're running out of time here. Let me just see if there's anything else that was critical that I want to tell you. I think that was basically it. I mean, obviously, you can export views into JSON now to use them in other systems. There's a lot. The RESTful web services is part of Drupal 8. I don't know a ton about that, but that, again, that's just a way to transfer data between different systems.
Yeah, for like Angular for decoupled.
Right. Yep. So that was a real high-level run-through. I'm sorry I didn't have answers to all of those specific little questions, but hopefully
awesome.
that was good.
Yeah,
High level.
very good.
That's
Okay.
the most I heard all in one place on a real general and basic level. So
Mm-hmm.
very, very helpful.
Okay, great. Hopefully I will know more. I'll actually have used this a lot more, and maybe we can do this again sometime. And I'd love to actually do some of the, like you said, the migration from 6 to 8. That would be good hands-on. I think for
I'm
all of
really
us.
excited about that now that I've seen all this.
Right. So I think Drupal 8, hopefully it's a lot closer to being, everything we did tonight was all in core, not a single contributed module. So I think that you can do a lot now.
Very cool.
Thank you so much. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome. All right, well, have yourselves a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
You guys too. Bye.
Bye.
Night.